Ladies and gentlemen, this is Larry from the Shizzle Network here, back again. Now, as I promised in my recent update video, I promised you guys that I was going to be making a video on how to make a professional looking screenplay, pretty much. And this is pretty much the software that I actually recommend personally. The name of this software is called Final Draft. Now, the interesting thing about Final Draft is that it's actually been used by a lot of professional production teams, such as James Cameron, J.J. Abrams. Two well-known directors. Some of you may know J.J. Abrams for directing Star Wars: The Force Awakens, and James Cameron for directing classic films such as Titanic, Avatar, and The Terminator, stuff like that. Now, as an aspiring filmmaker like myself, this is going to be one of those softwares where it's definitely very crucial that you'll need to use it pretty much. Currently, we have an untitled screenplay. Now, I'm going to show you exactly how Final Draft works. So first off, I just want to maximize this. So this is what the page looks like right here. You can clearly see all the features that it has, like it has a spelling, thesaurus. The script elements is going to be the most important thing right there, and I will be showing you the basic gist of how that works. So you also have your views, your splits. You can also insert notes as well in case you need like any refreshers. You can insert alternate dialogue. You can change the fonts or whatever. And there's a collaboration mode in which you can actually write with partners. Now, how the collaboration mode works is that only one writer can write the page at a time. So the way it works is that if you're collaborating with somebody to write the screenplay on Final Draft, you can't have two writers writing the script at the same time. It's going to be one at a time. One is going to be watching and the other is going to be writing. Now, when you do feel the need to actually get some writing done, all you gotta do is just request editing rights from that person, and the person can choose to either approve or reject your request to edit the script. In this case, they should be approving it anyways if you're collaborating. So I'm gonna start off a sample script. I'm just gonna do something. I'm just going to do something random. Okay, I'm just gonna write something random, and I'll show you as we go along. So now I'm gonna create a title page. Now you'll want to click on the title page. This is actually what you will want to do, because when you do write a script, it's very crucial that you have a title page. So that way you'll be able to create a professional looking script when you actually export into a PDF. Now, currently I'm using the trial version, so I'm not going to be able to save it to a PDF. The first thing I usually do is that, like I said, I click on the title page. Now, what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to write a script title, because this is obviously going to be the title of, the movie that you're going to be writing, or the TV episode, or whatever. You could create all kinds of screenplays. You could write a novel, you could write a script, you could write a TV show, you can write literally anything you want in Final Draft. It's everything you want in it. But for the most part, it's mainly used to write screenplays, and it's actually really fun to use. But I'll just cut the crap and I'll just write, a very random script title. I'll just simply type in Platoon. Oh, and by the way, you don't have to use any caps or shifts or whatever, because whatever title you write, it actually formats it on its own. But I'm just only writing this as random. I'm not actually doing this. I'm just only doing this as an example. I'm not doing this as a reference to the Oliver Stone film of the same name, Platoon. If you guys are familiar with that, that's a war. If you guys don't know what that is, that's a famous war movie from the 80s made by Oliver Stone. But I digress. But yeah, you don't have to do this part if you don't want to. You could just write it off, and you could actually put other credits if you want to. But for now, I'm just gonna say, based on the Oliver. Here we go. I'm just gonna put this in. Something like that. That's just a good example. You could also put your address and phone number if necessary, but we're not going to do that. So the title page is actually done now. So now what we're gonna do is that I'm gonna click out of that. Give me 1 second. So now that we got that taken care of, first we want to make sure we save the document. That's the one thing. It's very crucial that you do. I'm just gonna type in example screenplay here. So there, now that we got that taken care of, now what we are going to do is that we are going to get out of this title page. Now how you get out of the title page is that you click the close button. It doesn't close the entire document entirely. All it does is just takes you out of the title page. We're still on the project, as you can see. All it does is just takes you back to the normal script, pretty much. So now, how are we going to start this off? So like I said, in the script elements, you can actually change what you want. So here's how we're going to start it off. We're pretty much going to start it off with a we're going to start it off with a scene heading. Now I'm going to type it in right here. Now if I backspace this, I can actually pick. Now what we're going to do, I'm just going to pick exterior. Hang on a second, let me go back up. So now I'm gonna put, we have exterior. Now we need to think of something like an exterior, like for example, like an open battlefield. Like I would say an open grass battlefield. And now we put the dash there, and I'm gonna put in the day. Now if I backspace this up, like I said, you could put in night or evening. Any time of the day, really. Because like I said, Final Draft automatically detects what you would want. So like if you want to pick day, morning, evening, night, dusk, dawn, etc., it will actually do that for you. And like I said, when you type the script, it does it formats it for you. Now that we're into the second line, I want to teach you guys something. So when you press tab, it automatically does something. Right now we're on this action. We're on the action script element. If I press tab, it goes into the character element. So now I can write a character. If I press it again, it goes into transition. And if I tap it again, it goes into scene heading. And then if I tap it again, if I tap tab again, it goes into action. And then it pretty much repeats itself. It pretty much repeats itself. So here's my suggestion. What I would do is that if you're on a blank line, press the enter button. What you can do is that you can select which one you want, like the shot, the transition, the dialogue, parenthetical, character, action, scene heading, etc. So now I don't need to really control this, but I'll still select action just in case we need to. Because we already been on action, it always automatically stays on action when you do so. So now that we're on action, we are going to write something. So right now, like I said, we already on the exterior opening. Like I said, I'm sorry if I can't really spell territory at the moment. But that's the thing. Like I said, it does allow you to autocorrect, which is actually a great thing. But yeah, so far we wrote that down and we already set up the scene right there. So now, since we're still in the action part, now we're going to write something as like I said, we haven't set up the characters yet, but there is a way that you can set up the characters. What you can do is that you could come in here. This is the production part right here. You can edit the scene numbers right here. And that's the thing that we will want to do. We want to make sure that we also have a scene right there, the starting number right there. Actually, the scene headings actually are your scenes. When you actually use the scene headings, it automatically detects as a scene. And when you use the navigator, you can actually see it. As you can see right here, I already set the setting. I already set the scene right there. So it's already in there. I haven't set any of the characters up yet. But they will be. You can actually add characters here, right here. So I guess I'll just add one by Yes, I know. I'm doing a little GTA Vice City. I know I'm doing some GTA references, but like I said, I'm just only using these as an example. Um, like I said, I'm just using these as a as an example. Hang on, here we go. Not sure if I spelled Nico Bellic right. I probably did misspell it wrong, but like I said, it's only just an example right there. I would highly suggest doing that too because it saves the time, but at the same time, you can still create your own characters with the script elements dialogues pretty much. So it really so it really doesn't matter. So in this scene right here, we're going to start it off right here. We So we see it's always important to capitalize. It's always important to capitalize the you know. Wait a minute. I'm sorry. Here we go. I'm gonna put that on right there. It's always important to capitalize the names of the characters when you're writing the action because every movie script does that. Because it indicates the characters and it sets how the scene is supposed to go and what the characters are. It's actually supposed to set how what the characters are doing in the scene. So that's why if you ever read screenplays and why the characters are so large, why they're all in caps. That's why. So we see Tommy Vercetti, Claude, and Nico Bellic. Now we're about to write some dialogue. So now here's the fun part. Like I said, you don't have to press enter this time. I mean, if you want to do that, that's okay. But for the most part, you really don't need to do that. The quickest way to do it is that if you just simply press tab, like I said, it automatically detects it. It automatically goes into character mode. So the first character that I'm going to put in is Tommy, and you don't have to hold shift or caps lock or whatever because it capitalizes everything on its own. Usually it would pull up a prompt where it would actually allow you to select the character's name, but for some reason it didn't do that, but that's okay. But sorry. Anyways, now that we did that, now what we will want to do is now we will want to press enter this time. We're going to press enter, and when we press enter, it automatically goes into dialogue. So like I said, it automatically detects exactly what you're doing. So we can have Tommy say something like, so we already established that these three characters are hiding inside of a cabin, and they're trying to heal their wounds right now. So we can have Tommy say something like, oh, wait, here we go. Alright, so I know there's a spelling error right there. But there, we can have him say something like, "Here, Claude, take this needle and inject it, and inject it in your arm, but be careful." So here we go. Now we're gonna go back into action. So now we're gonna write. Claude takes. He takes the needle. He takes the needle from Tommy. He takes the needle from Tommy. However, he is hesitating. Yeah, how do you spell hesitate? Yeah, there we go. He is not hesitant, but hesitating, rather. Here, I'm gonna actually have to. Oh, wait, I don't get it. I don't know why it's misspelled like that. There we go, that's better. Okay. So, yeah. Claude takes the needle from Tommy. However, he is hesitating on injecting himself with it. Alright, so now we're going to go back into the character. We're going to write it for Claude. and we're gonna have Claude say something like yeah, I know you might think it's weird how an army man might be squeamish for himself, but like I said, I'm just only writing this down as an example. Or better yet, then here we go. And then we can have him say, Nico, I want you. There. That's all I'm going to be writing so far. That's really it. So, now that we actually finish it, now let me show you. Now I'm going to do a quick recap because, like I said, everything that you do, everything that goes on is formatted. Like, this is the action, this is the scene heading, this is the action, like I said, this is the character, this is the dialogue, action. This is how screenplays are supposed to be written. Because you can clearly see how it's written. You know, I know some people write on Microsoft Word or Google Docs to actually write scripts. There's nothing wrong with that because it's just that you have to mainly format it yourself, whereas Final Draft, on the other hand, pretty much does it all for you. But I could go more in depth on there. Like I said, for a character, action, parenthetical, that's usually for, you know, secret notes, dialogue, transitions. Let me show you what the transitions look like. Here, I'm just going to, here, I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to press enter again. Here's what the transition will look like. I'm going to hit enter on the transition. Now you can either type in cut to or whatever. Like I said, if you press enter, what it does is that, hang on, I'm gonna do it once more. I'm gonna do that once again. Okay, I'm gonna go into the transition and I'm gonna hit enter. Wait a second, I'm sorry, hang on. It should be on transition right here. Here, I'm just gonna type in a letter like C. Now I'm gonna backspace. Okay, these are the transitions that you'll get when you do this. So now what happens is that I'm gonna press cut to. Oh wait, hang on a second. That reminds me. This is a very noticeable error right here. Okay, so now that I fixed that, I actually just realized that since the scene is basically indoors, I had to switch that to interior. I'm pretty sure a lot of people in the comments are actually going to bring up that mistake, but I fixed it. So now what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to do another scene heading right here. So now when you use the transition, it's automatically going to go into another scene heading. So now I can finally select exterior. Hang on a second, I'm going to press tab. Because now it's saying, okay, so that's one of our locations. Now I'm going to hit dash. And now I'm going to select, once again, day. And cut to that. So that's how a transition works. So there, now I just wrote that. So that, like I said, this is the new action right here, and this is another scene right here as we cut to that. So now that I'm on Writer's Duet, now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to go into new script. So what it's going to do is that it's going to create a new script for me. Now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to be, right now it's just setting the script up for me, even though it's still going to stay brain for the most part. And besides, like I said, Writer's Duet is another great script writing software. But like I said, you have to pay for it, and not just that, but you also have to pay for the collaboration as well. But like I said, I highly recommend Final Draft over Writer's Duet. But like I said, I do prefer this one when it comes to converting files. So now what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna select import, and I'm going to choose the file. We're going to go down, and I'm going to select the example screenplay. Now what it's going to do is that it's going to upload. Don't worry about that because all that talks about is colors and whatnot. But other than that, it does load up the script just fine. Now, the title of the title page, I'm not sure if that's actually on here. Because I know since we only input it there, I don't actually see the title page. I'm gonna see it. Oh, okay, never mind. The title page is still there. That's great. So it doesn't. So okay. So the title page is still there. Now what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna select export, go into PDF, and just give it a few minutes because it does take some time processing it into a PDF, and then eventually, yes, it will download it right there. And you can clearly see that it's automatically the title of the screenplay we wrote, and it's simply called Platoon. Now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to open this up, open the PDF up, and give me 1 second, and there we go. Now you have an official professional style looking script rendered in PDF. This is actually how screenplays are actually rendered. Screenplays are rendered with PDFs, so that way they can be read only, and so that way they can't be, edited by anyone else. But don't you see how good the script looks so far? Like, this is what the title page looks like. In fact, every script title page should look like this anyway. It's very, very simple. You could also add some other credits if you feel the need to do so, but it's really not all that necessary. But like I said, don't worry about the address and phone numbers. That's actually optional. This is only if you're actually submitting this to, like, a studio, a major studio or whatever. But that's about it. But as we go through the scene, we can clearly see this. The movie starts with the opening logos. Then we see a group of soldiers fighting against the Russian army. Tanks come in and they start fighting off the They start shooting off the American blockades to invade their territory. So now the first scene starts interior in a damaged cabin close to the battlefield during the day. So we see Tommy Vercetti, Claude, and Nico Bellic hiding inside of a cabin trying to heal their wounds. At the same time, they are restocking on ammo before they engage in combat. Tommy Vercetti's first line: "Here, Claude, take this needle and inject it in your arm, but be very careful." Claude takes the needle from Tommy, however, he is hesitating on injecting himself with it. "I can't do it. I'm scared that I might hurt myself." "Nico, I want you to inject me with it." Nico says, "Me? Are you sure?" Claude then says, "Yes, but oh wait, I just realized that grammar error." But anyways, yeah, please do not do it too hard. And that's another grammar error. It's actually 2 O's, not just 1. Yeah, I know, I'm a grammar Nazi when it comes to writing scripts. I actually catch my grammar flaws, so you don't have to really point that out. Now, anyways, now we see the next action, which is that Nico takes the needle from Claude. He then grabs hold of Claude's arm and proceeds to slowly inject the needle into his arm. He then pulls it out and the operation is successful. Then Nico's line says, "Are you starting to feel better?" "Yeah, I think I'll be fine. Thank you." Save your thanks for later, guys. The enemy is moving in. I see tanks at 12 o'clock moving south in our direction. "What are we gonna do, sir?" "Yeah, we'll get ambushed." "Don't worry, there's a crate full of anti-tank mines. What you guys can do is move in when the enemy is facing another direction and place the mine within their path." So now we cut to exterior, open grass battlefield, day. The tank, an M1 Abrams, is moving close toward the cabin. Just before it gets there, another tank shoots a shell at the M1 Abrams. The tank is now unable to transport. So this is just a screenplay example. This is how movie scripts are. This is how movie scripts should be written. Like I said, if you write movies your own way, that's okay. I just felt like making this video because this is just something that I personally recommend. But please let me know in the comments exactly what you guys think of Final Draft if you ever used Final Draft before. Final Draft is really amazing. I highly recommend it as far as writing screenplays because, like I said, works out. But like I said, if you want to save as a PDF, you're gonna have to buy the full version. And for all of you crackers out there, I'm pretty sure there is a way. I know there is a way to crack Final. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to pull that up. I know there is a way to crack Final Draft, but that's only up to you. But anyways, that's really it. And if you also ever need a thesaurus, you can also go in there. All you need to do is highlight a word. Oh wait, here, I'll just highlight in jet. I'll highlight a word, and then you go into thesaurus, where you could find where you could click on words pretty much to which you will want to use. But since InJet really doesn't have any other ones that we could use, we could just leave it alone. And the spelling, all you gotta do is just click spelling, and then it finds, it pretty much does the same thing as Microsoft Word. Like, for example, gonna. But since we don't really need to change that here, I'm just going to press ignore all instances of that. I'm going to ignore all instances of M1 as well. And it seems that spelling check, okay, there we go, spell check is complete. Yeah, this is very important when you're actually writing a script. You want to do some spelling checks, and you want to make sure that if there is no, that the word that you actually wrote, if there's nothing wrong with the spelling, just press ignore all instances of it. And if you do see a word that is misspelled, you'll definitely want to fix it. All instances if necessary. So it's very crucial that you experiment with Final Draft first before you start actually writing screenplays in it. I've already started writing screenplays with Final Draft. It's just that I felt like, making this tutorial just to show you exactly the basis of how this works. But I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Sorry if it went on for way too long. It's just that, it takes, script writing just takes a lot of time to master. It's a special art that takes time to actually get right. You can pretty much use Final Draft for literally anything you want. It doesn't always have to be writing for movies. Like I said, you could write a novel, a graphic novel. You can even write your own videos. You can even script your own videos with Final Draft in here as well if you want to. It's entirely up to you. But in any case, if you guys did enjoy it, be sure to subscribe for more videos from the Shizzle Network. And until then, peace out and deuces. Beyond the infinite, as always, think for yourself. If you have any questions, I will answer them in the comments below. Take care.